So Ann, congratulations on the book Uncommon Service, and obviously I think it's the best book written here in 2012. Now you talked about, you're more than welcome because it's outstanding. You talk about this need for trade-off and how we get it in the product side, but it's just unbelievably difficult on the service side. Talk a little bit about that.
Sure. One of the big things that we learned, we looked at hundreds of great service companies, and we found that a clear, overwhelming pattern is that they were not great at everything. They were great at the things that their customers valued most, and they were very deliberately and strategically bad at the things that they valued less. And these companies understood in a way that is harder for service companies for some reason. And to answer your question, I'll get back to your question, but they understood that they lived in a world of limits.
Right.
But in so many service companies, we decide that with enough charisma and with a rousing speech, we can convince our employees to go the distance every single day and deliver excellence in that way. And it's just not possible. It's not sustainable.
And everywhere. Everywhere and everything.
Exactly, exactly. And one of the reasons I think is that the limits aren't as clear when you're in the service business. When you can't drop something on your foot, it's harder to see that these trade-offs are so intimately connected, and yet they are. And so what we try to do with people, and what we try to do in the book, was give people tools to really bring these trade-offs to the surface so that they could make more deliberate choices about them. Because the reality is in most service organizations, as I said, they're living in a state of exhausted mediocrity of trying to do everything.
Right, and in the product side, people know if you're going to make it for less, you're going to have to leave maybe something out, or if you want to make it smaller, but we don't get that on the service side.
Exactly. It's a harder leap because it's not something that you can touch and feel.
And so I want you to talk a little bit about this. I like, your scale of 1 to 5.
Right.
And about companies that end up being 3 in everything, but the winners are really what? They're
the ones and 5s. Exactly.
Explain what that means.
Sure.
Give me an example.
So, one of the ways we try to map this for people is just think about it on a scale of 1 to 5. How are you doing compared to your competitors?
All right.
Right. So the best service companies in the world, they are 5s. They are 5 out of 5, beating their competitors in that space on the things that their customers care the most about. And they are losing.
And maybe just 1 or 2 things.
They're just one. Usually it's just 1 or 2.
Yeah. Okay.
And they're losing, and I mean losing big. They are worst in class on the things that their customers value least. And this pattern held in industry after industry after industry.
And that's the guts, to make that kind of decision, to actually put out the fact that you're worst at a couple of things.
And owning it. I mean, we talked about the MacBook Air. Apple isn't angsty about the fact that their battery life is not that impressive, and that you can't plug anything into these computers. It's not anything that they're apologizing about. Commerce Bank wasn't apologizing for their rates. They weren't apologizing.
Their low rates.
No, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. They were owning it, and that's a big part of our message, is understand your customers well enough to make those trade-offs very thoughtfully, and then own it.
And dare to be bad.
Dare to be bad. Have the courage to be bad. Exactly.
Ann, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Verne. It's a pleasure to be here.
Likewise.